Good morning, Emerson. Welcome to our WEMS News Channel.
I'm Netta from the LRC homeroom.
And I'm Joseph from homeroom 174.
Today we'll hear from 4 different news teams.
You'll hear information about flying cars,
later start to the school day,
hurricanes,
and homework.
So here we go with News Team 3 and see if they think flying cars would be possible in the next 15 years.
You may be wondering what all the fuss with flying cars is all about, but one day you may be able to fly above the traffic. You heard me right. You'll probably be taking a flying Uber to work.
According to the Aeronautical University, these cars will be quite safe and energy efficient. Many companies trying to produce these flying cars are only in the beginning stages of flight testing, but they face many technological challenges. For one, will it be safe to drive with bad weather during the night? Researchers are also wondering if it will cost too much money to produce.
About the cost indeed. Now, flying cars are still in the pre-ages, so they haven't been any sold to the public yet. There has been a lot of trial and error, and although there have been successful tests, and one company, Aeromobile, is even planning to sell theirs in the near future, flying cars still have a long way to go when it comes to affordability. Another company is planning on selling the car in the next 2 to 3 years for $1.3 million. That may seem expensive at first, but when you think of it as a mini private airplane that can also drive, let alone an electric one, it starts to look a lot cheaper. A third company named Skycar has been selling and making gas-powered flying cars that cost about $1 million.
I don't find too much on the topic of how they work because of the early stage of development they're in, but I know for certain that they will be self-driving and get you to your destination via GPS. The reason that is because of piloting laws. Now, the long-awaited answer to if flying cars will take off like an airplane or if they'll take off vertically. And the answer is, it depends. If the flying car is designed with fans facing downwards, like a drone, then it's going to take off vertically. If it's designed with a wingspan, like an airplane, then it's going to take off like an airplane. And one more thing, flying cars will be all electric because it's cheaper and more energy efficient. After all this being said, there are many more innovations to come in companies such as Uber, who held a 3-day conference in Dallas, Texas, where a bunch of engineers came together to show off their solutions to problems with flying cars to help us along the way. Now,
we surveyed our broadcasting class. We asked them if they thought flying cars would be possible in the next 15 years. Out of the 48 responses, 47.9% of the class said that they would be possible, and 52.1% of the class said that they wouldn't be possible.
Well, after seeing all the possibilities and downfalls to them, flying cars could either be the future, a toy for rich people,
or just another gimmick. Now, let me ask you, what do you think?
Wow, that was some good information. I wish I could use one of those cars to get to school.
Speaking of school, I sure am tired. Yawn. I wish school did not start so early.
Here's News Team 1 about the benefits of a later start to the school day.
Do you want more money and sleep? How would this change affect your school's achievements? These changes could help teens get higher test, park, and map scores. Teens could get into less accidents and participate in class more, according to Chicago Tribune.
Good morning. My name is Mary Rigoni, and I'm here with Mrs. Dobriniani. The first question I'd like to ask you is, what do you think about a later start to the school day?
I think a later start to the school day is actually a great idea, just because a lot of students, from my experience, I have noticed, is that they usually fall asleep in earlier classes, or they're very tired, so the engagement level is low and they have a hard time paying attention. So by starting at least an hour later, students are able to have at least an hour extra of sleep, which should promote their engagement levels in the classroom.
Do you think test scores and map/park scores will increase better?
I do believe extra sleep will give you more energy and more focus abilities in the classroom, so you'll be able to focus more so on the test that you are taking and perform much better.
How do you feel about starting the school day later?
Personally, I would prefer to come in early and get done with school early. I like that motto, that way I have more time in the afternoon to do things for myself. But I know in a middle school age kids and high school age kids, they prefer to sleep in, and that's how their body is wired. So it would work more ideal for students to come in later to school versus so early as they currently do.
Do you think teens will get in less accidents?
I do believe students or teens would have less accidents because they are able to sleep an hour longer or however later you start, which would promote them to be more alert as they are driving to school or picking up their friends. They won't be sleepy, tired, or distracted.
Thank you for taking the time to interview with me.
Thank you, Mary, for having me.
We surveyed our broadcasting class, and here are some of the results. For the first question, what do you think about a later start to the school day? 55.9%, or 33 people, said it's fantastic. 27.1%, or 16 people, said they don't like it. And 16.9%, or 10 people, said it's okay. For the second question, would you approve it? 62.7%, or 37 people, said definitely, but 37.3%, or 22 people, said no. For the last question, do you think teens will get better test/quiz scores? 50.8% or 30 people said yes, 27.1% or 60 people said maybe, and 22% or 13 people said no. From the survey, we can conclude that students like the idea of starting school later.
What do you think?
That was some good information.
Oh man, I wish school was canceled because it is pouring outside.
Hey, because you mentioned it's pouring and it's windy outside, I wonder how my friends in Florida are doing because a hurricane just hit them.
Oh look, let's hear from News Team 2 about hurricanes.
Did you know that every second a large hurricane releases the energy of 10 atomic bombs? Now imagine that much energy released into your state. The hurricane will probably destroy almost everything it runs into. So, what is being done and what more can we do to prevent hurricanes from hurting more people? Here we are with Audrey Kerwin, who has interviewed her aunt who has been living there for about a decade. So she has much experience with hurricanes. How often do you usually prepare for a hurricane?
Most people in Florida, they collect water and batteries for flashlights. Some people board up their windows so their windows won't break. People stock up on non-perishable canned food. Some people evacuate to go to shelter. They trim trees so bigger branches don't fall down during a hurricane. And some people buy generators to have power if the power goes out.
What do you think is being done and what more can we do to prevent hurricanes from hurting more people?
Disaster plans, because elderly people, babies, and sick people are the most fragile people, and they need air conditioning. And then if power goes out, then they don't have air conditioning. So I feel like the government should have a plan or like a backup plan and use generators to help.
And what do you usually do after a hurricane?
Most people in Florida go outside and check to see what's damaged. They check to see their roofs and they check to see if any fences were knocked down after the storm. They also check on things and they start to fix things if broken after a hurricane. And also when you're outside, you should be very careful around power lines because you shouldn't go near them or touch them because they're very dangerous.
Thank you for this interview, Audrey.
In the past, hurricanes have done a lot of damage to our simple technology. For example, Hurricane Galveston flooded an entire island in the 1900s. They asked the government for money to build reinforced houses and permission to build a seawall. Another city on the island was already destroyed, but still the government wouldn't let them build a wall. Then Hurricane Galveston hit. As a Category 4 hurricane, it destroyed many houses and flooded the whole island. And only then did the government give them permission to build the wall. This is an example of the problems we have currently. Our government definitely has the technology and money to put more research on ways to protect us people from hurricanes. I'm sure you have all heard about Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, and Maria. In total, they have killed hundreds and injured thousands, and now that leaves us with one question. What is being done and what more can we do to prevent hurricanes from hurting more people?
There's our information for you about hurricanes. Did I mention that when a hurricane is very devastating, they change the name of it? So what do you think can be done to prevent hurricanes from hurting more people?
Wow, that is just devastating.
Because we're talking about hurricanes, I'm actually doing a report on hurricanes in science and I have to finish it for homework.
Speaking of homework, let's listen to News Team 4 about how much stress kids are having from homework.
Homework, the one thing that every kid hates. There's a debate on if we should even have it. This debate is active because of the stress homework is putting on kids. We think homework should not be active unless absolutely needed.
Hello, I'm Joseph Boyd here with Miss Harrington, and we are going to be talking about homework and how it affects people. As a parent, what is your perspective on homework?
Well, I see that it's a valuable way to practice skills that you've learned in school during the day. It's harder to fit into the evening schedule than I realized before I was a parent, but my son has to read half an hour every day plus do his spelling. He's in 3rd grade, and so it's good that we're starting early so he can develop the practice skills. But it does teach responsibility, I think.
Do you think your students get too much homework?
I really only know what I assign for homework, and I don't think that I assign very much homework generally. I don't know if other people would agree with that. But I think I like my students to practice things at home. I think like an hour and a half. If it takes longer than an hour and a half, then I think that the student might be having some questions that they should ask their teacher for help with.
Is your son getting too much homework?
Too much? I don't think he's getting too much. It's interesting being a parent now, how it really is hard to manage all of the times.
And then as a teacher, what's your perspective on homework?
I think giving homework that allows the student to practice and cement the skills in their head is good, but giving homework just to make a kid do extra work as punishment, I don't think that's such a good deal.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
We completed a survey, and these are the results. According to the survey, most people that answered said that homework really stresses them out. And 56.3% said they knew someone who was stressed out by homework, and 43.8% said they do not know someone who is stressed out by homework.
I'm Sammy Bergeron, and today we are going to give facts about homework. Homework can be both a good thing and a bad thing. According to Scholastic, homework is a good thing because it refreshes skills learned in class. It also teaches kids responsibilities. But according to CNN, giving too much homework can cause migraines, ulcers, and other stomach problems. According to Healthline, it can lead to family stress. According to outofstress.com, stress can come as early as 2nd grade from homework. According to Newsela, 5 out of 10 kids worry about homework.
That was pretty interesting. Thanks for watching WEMS News.
And remember, Emerson, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.